Look, you may not have heard what I was just saying a few moments ago. Here's one of the sentences when it comes to major problems, and this is sort of a preamble, actually, from Margie down in Townsville as she sat through that meeting last week, where it was pointed out that the new reinsurance pool is not going to be cancelled or delayed. But it said here, major problems, the details of the pool, definitions, and an ability to opt out if lower reinsurance can be found, such as for sure insurance, are not known. With all the toing and froing last week, Bradley, is there anything that you'd like to add to give us a clearer picture of what is actually applying since the so-called commencement of this scheme last Friday?
Look, John, there's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of people talking about things. There's been a lot of political statements. I think we're getting a little bit fed up with all the politics involved with this. It's time we all started talking like adults about this and come to the right conclusion. Now, we think this is a moment in time to get it right. And I think the Minister last week had a few things to say and changed some numbers based on what had been previously said by the previous government. So we think as much and all as we don't want to delay things, we think sometimes you've got to pause when you know you haven't got it right. And we don't think it's right at the moment, and we think this is a moment in time to pause and get it right. And we've made representations to the Assistant Treasurer's office. We'd like him to give us a call back so we can let him know what we think. And the central issue for us to protect our policyholders, our sure policyholders. Now they're about sure, this is about our policyholders, is to put the no disadvantage test in. And simply put, that means if we can charge a lower price than the pool, then we should be allowed to continue doing that. And we should never be allowed to charge more than the pool. And in that way, there are no winners and losers. Everyone's a winner. And that's how we think it should be looked at it. And that's what we want to say very, very directly to the Assistant Treasurer.
What specifically could stop you continuing to offer that to your customers?
Well, I think last week the Minister admitted that there are some people in some zones that are going to see increases in their premium. And that's something the Minister said publicly. And that's a concern to us. And we have always had some concerns about whether there would be winners and losers out of this process. And we can't understand in a pool that has been touted by the government as something that's going to be good for the people of regional Queensland, why there are going to be losers as well as winners. Everyone should be a winner. And that's why the very simple formula we're putting forward, the very simple formula is if we can charge less, let Shaw continue to do that. Why would you stop us charging less? Why would you put us in a position where we would need to deliver an increase to our policyholders just because the pool came in?
Yeah.
So we're asking for a very simple change to it, and let's be adults about this. Let's get the politics out of it. From our viewpoint, we're a little bit fed up with the politicians being involved in something. As soon as that happens, the winners are the politicians and the losers are the people. And it really is time the winners should be the people of regional Queensland. That's what we're pleading with the government to do.
Now, back to something you just said a couple of minutes ago, possibility of some increases in some zones. Was it outlined which particular zones might in fact attract increases?
Look, the Minister didn't say anything. The Minister didn't talk about that. But, when I think he's been talking about the percentage decreases that some people on average will get, and as usual, it's percentages and the use of the words up to, which means not everyone is going to get those increases. And he did make it clear that some people in some zones would get increases. Now, we don't think that's good enough. We don't think that is clearly anyone's intention in the pool. So this is what, I repeat, let's be adult enough to pause this. I'm not saying for months and months. We've got a solution, as I've outlined before, and so let's sit down like adults. Shaw is an expert. We're a specialist in this area. We can offer a unique view to the government, the new government. And we've contacted the government. We've left details. Give us a call back. We can give you, hopefully, what is an unbiased view, because we're not doing this for sure as much as we're doing it for our policyholders, because they're the people that we're committed to looking after.
All right, let's go back to some of these notes that have just arrived on my desk. The modelling suggesting in high-risk areas, you could see an average of 19% reduction for homeowners and 15% for strata. they're not really those figures anywhere in line with what we were hoping from this reinsurance pool. What are your comments on those figures?
Look, exactly, John. I mean, let's round the 19 to 20 because, I'm not particularly good with maths in my own head nowadays. I'm not got a calculator in front of me, but, if some people are getting, and I emphasise up to 20%. So that means the person that is paying $10,000 now gets a 20% reduction. But bear in mind, that is, in my reading of what the Minister is saying, only off the component of the premium that is cyclone.
Oh, okay.
That's not off the whole premium.
Okay.
So from our viewpoint, even in the best case scenario, that $10,000 premium goes to $8,000. That's the best case scenario. I don't think that's good news for people. I mean, it's something, but I don't think it's what people are expecting. And in our situation, if we can charge less than that, we want to be able to continue to charge less than that, and that's the objective here. So, we have to be, we have to have the courage, I think, and the will to pause this just for a moment, get it right. And I think it's a fairly easy solution what we're putting forward. Yeah. And it doesn't just apply to Shore, it applies to all insurers, that if they can do it cheaper for some risks, let them do it.
Isn't this an interesting thing too? Oh, well, the Insurance Council of Australia, they're aware of the confusion, etc., and they're planning to come up and sort things out mid-July. I just find that curious, to say the least.
Well, I don't really know what that would entail. I really don't know how they how they expect to come up there. And look, every little bit helps. If the Insurance Council is in a position where it can provide some help, then every little bit helps. But they have to lobby the government too, and I know they're probably doing that. This is a situation where we have to take a deep breath and a short pause and let's get it right. But rather than, it's the old story, rather than blunder ahead with something that may not be the best solution, if we can make a few tweaks to it now, it's common sense, isn't it? I mean, I think everyone listening would hopefully agree that it's common sense to not dive in the deep end without knowing what's there.
This update is solid gold, I've got to say, Brett. Well, for me, and I'm sure a lot of listeners too. If you don't mind, can we stay in touch every week or so through this difficult period, because there is anything but clarity as far as our expectations are concerned in this business about, somebody in authority might come up, suggested someone in authority might come north to help manage expectations in mid-July. Well, we need something a little bit less confusing, a little bit clearer than those sort of commitments. So if you don't mind, we'll have a chat every week, Brad. I'll contact you again next Monday.
My pleasure, John. We're always happy to help. And look, the people of regional Queensland have waited long enough, and we just don't want them to wait too much longer. Yeah. No point putting something in that, despite the wait, isn't what people wanted and what people need. And it's time we got this right.
Excellent. Good on you, Brad. Thanks for summing it up like that. That's the Managing Director, Shore Insurance.